up there and they're like, Kristen, can you bring up areas 1 and 2? Let's do that real quick, just so it doesn't go completely dark. Just, there you go. You can take it down about 50. That's really bright. That's really bright. And then take out the house lights. Just 151 through 153 it out. There we go. Okay, so here's my stage, and this is kind of close to what it looks like during the set. You know, really all I have on right now are 2 area lights, and something's on up there. I'm not sure what. Really, like I was talking earlier, I usually have 10 areas. How my set is at 1, 2, 3, and there are 4, 5, and 6, and then the back rows are 10 areas. And that's how I pretty much divide my stage in. So area 1 and 2 should be on right now. I brought, since I don't have the set, I actually brought a bunch of clothing to show you what happens to color. Because as a theatrical lighting designer, that's like one of the big things we have to understand is the additive property of color and how color gets affected by certain types of light. So right now I have yellow, green, Russ's favorite shirt, my red one, my purple one, and then a blue one. So Kristen, can you bring up the red wash and then take all these other area lights out? So take out area 1 and 2. There we go. Yeah. So right now I have a red wash on the stage, and if you can see this is green. And so you see what happens to green when I only have red. It completely destroys the color. I'd almost say that's gray. Yellow doesn't look horrible, I can tell. Purple's not actually bad under this gel. If I had a lot harsher gel, purple might not look as good, depending. Might look half as good. Red obviously looks fine. Blue, it could be better. But mainly green. And that's mainly because if you've ever thought about it, on a color wheel, you've never heard of a color such as greenish red, if you think about it. Same with bluish yellow. So green and red are not friends to each other. So let's go ahead and bring up the blue wash and see what happens to all my colors. And take out the red wash. Now look what happens. All my different colors start to shift, and you can't really tell as good as what true colors are. Can anyone see that fine? Okay. And then let's bring up my third wash, which is an amber. And then take out the blue. Amber is kind of my mid-between. It's kind of at the middle of the color spectrum almost. And so everything kind of gets a little bit of alright color. I actually didn't use amber in the show just because I don't really like what it does to the skin. If you look at your skin, it's very yellowish. And my costume designer didn't like it either, so I didn't use it very much. So what's interesting is, as a lighting designer, you have to start learning how to mix colors. And so one of the big things I did have to do, let's bring up all the washes at once. Look what kind of happens. You get kind of a vibrant, wide range of all your colors, even though at first they weren't there. So that's kind of what I have to do as a lighting designer, is figure out how colors are going to interact, and at the same time, what colors are not going to do good. If you went, well, no one saw Hamlet? Okay, sorry. What happened in Hamlet is Hamlet had a dark black coat, and I had a blue wash, or we had a blue and green wash go on during certain scenes, and Hamlet's black coat actually turned maroon, which is really weird, but it had to do with the synthetic fiber that was in the coat. Everyone else looked black except Hamlet. He was maroon. So it was, and that was one of those moments that lighting were like, I can't fix that, and that's the costume problem. that's your fault. So let's see. Like I said before, I typically want 6 lights per area, and how I usually do it is I have 2 lights from the right, 2 from the left, 1 from the up left, and 1 from the up right. That way I kind of just get a full spectrum of lighting around myself. The 2 up right will be a cool color and a warm color, and the ones same on this side will be a cool and warm. And And then my backlights will always be usually a neutral. Neutral to me is usually a violet, purple, or some kind of light blue. So Kristen, can you bring up, let's just start with the downright warms, and then take out the washes. So see what happens to my skin. It's very warm. It's yellowish. So it's almost there. I don't really like it. And then also I'm only lit from one side. And I need to be lit from both sides. So let's take down the warm and bring up the cool. Same here. Now I just have to worry about my skin tones. I usually use these maybe predominantly if I have a nighttime scene versus a daytime scene. It just depends on the mood you want to convey on the stage. So let's do the same on that side. So it's down left, yeah. Same, another warm. They're actually not the exact same. They're a little different. Can you bring the cool up now? This one's a lot more saturated blue. And then let's do the back, one of the backs. It doesn't matter which one. Okay, this is I consider this a neutral. You may think this is really bright right now, but you got to think about where you're sitting, and that all this light is reflecting off the stage and into your eyes. So when it comes to controlling who sees what, you got to always remember when I'm designing a show, I'm usually sitting different spots during the show, and I'm usually having to value where is it bright to these people, where is it dark, and kind of have to, yeah, it's all a balancing act. So let's do, oh, they're all up right now. Okay. And then one thing, if you look at the stage, it kind of looks flat. So one thing I always do on a show is I always have a go-go pattern, and that really I use a go-go pattern to tie all the areas together into one kind of cohesive image. So Kristen, can you take out everything and then bring up the, yeah, that one. So I have a go-go pattern, and what a go-go pattern is I have one of those downlights. It literally just has a piece of metal kind of shoved in front of the light, and it has a pattern in front of it, and it pretty much just sculpts the light. You can actually see these I've seen these in architectural applications used, because you can have words written, and they'll display words on a wall or a floor or something like that. And this is mainly just to tie all my spaces on. These are usually on probably about 20% the entire show. You probably won't notice it, but it really helps just bring things together. Can you bring up the other gobo? I have like a cracking pattern. This was purely theatrical reasons. You kind of have to think outside your engineering borders, I guess. When you come to theater, you got to kind of think theatrically. I don't know how to explain it other than you maybe try to convey a mood of some sort. So I think that's good. Kristen, do you want to go into just the first cue and then take all these down? So just hit the go button, the easy button. So this is pre-show. This is what everyone comes into. You see I have the windows lit. It's pretty much just introduce the audience, kind of files in. That's all it really is. Just hit go for a couple, and if I see something interesting, I'll explain what happened. See, they need lights to come into this. Just keep going. So yeah, we have the first character you can hold. The first character kind of enters right here. back up. Okay, remember the pigtails we had up there? Each of those pigtails has a number, and maybe 1 and maybe 140, doesn't matter. And that pigtail controls a light. Well, on the board, I take pigtail 50, and I assign it to a certain light number, because maybe group 1 is light 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it corresponds to pigtail 50, 70, 23, and what else? That's how it's programmed to certain channels, and each light is a channel. So each individual light you have is controlled by 1 pigtail, which is controlled by 1 channel. So in the board right now is a queue. I'm in a queue right now. I'm not sure which one, but each queue has each channel listed, and each queue's channel has a certain is number between 0 and 100. And those values pretty much tell you how bright or how intense you want the light to be. You know, is the light on at 50% power? Is it on at 30% power? So every time she hits the go button, it changes to a new queue, and each queue corresponds to new light levels in each light. So it's just tracking where we are. And so if she hits Q, or go ahead and hit go, see if anything changes. Okay, if you notice, it got brighter about right here. So lights that corresponded to this area, their channel number went probably from 50 to 70%. So that light's on at 70%.
So someone has to physically program that.
Yes, I physically programmed that. It was one night, a couple weekends ago, probably about from 10 to 2, programming lights. It's depending on the board, it can be a slow or fast program. This board is a tracking board, which makes it kind of easy to program. It means every time I program a light into a queue and then I hit the next queue, it stays on until I tell it otherwise. Now, in McCain, that board is not a tracking board. So every time I write a queue and then I hit next queue, all the lights go out again, and I got to reprogram it again, which it can be kind of a pain. It is a pain. So that's why I like this board.